Namaskar, friends. I welcome you all to the Hindu editorial analysis on October 5th, 2023. In my childhood days, we would visit theaters to watch movies. We had movie theaters in our native, which are no longer there because the large budget movie theaters have replaced the small movie theaters which used to exist in our childhood days. And we were amazed to see that the still pictures, when continuously moved through the motion picture camera, produced a continuous picture, and our eyes were just watching it as a continuous movement of the movie. This was our childhood days, my dear friends. And now what happened is that the similar movie is being created for electrons. Friends, I hope you have heard about hummingbird. Hummingbird is flapping its wings every second 20 times. That is 20 times in 1 second. The hummingbird is flapping its wings. You cannot take the picture of the flapping or the video of the flapping wing of a hummingbird by taking your camera and taking an ordinary camera and picturizing it or catching a video. Because imagine if in 1 second 20 times this flap happens, if you try to picturize or videograph it, it will not happen. In the same manner, although J.J. Thomson has been credited with the discovery of electrons, no one has ever been able to see electrons, my dear friends. Why so? Because its movement, the electrons move at such a huge speed which I cannot express with my tongue. It's a huge speed, and it is the speed of which cannot be measured. And this was the reason why, although J.J. Thomson is credited to be the founder of the electron, he had never seen it. Although no one has ever seen the electron, the concept of electron has been there since 1906. In 1906, J.J. Thomson was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics for the discovery of the electrons. This very wondrous world of electrons is very much complicated because one is a subatomic particle and another one no one is able to see it. So now it becomes the crux of our story and the background of our story, which I am going to discuss today. Friends, the first editorial article which I am going to discuss is on the Nobel Prize on Physics 2023. Friends, unfortunately, a person who measured the results of the Nobel Prize contribution which has been awarded, he is not been awarded the Nobel Prize. His name is Corkum. Corkum was left out because in Nobel Prize what remains is that only three would be awarded the Nobel Prize, and when three people were awarded the Nobel Prize, Corkum was left out. It pains at heart to learn that with so much of important contribution from his side, he was left out, my dear friends. We take very much disappointment at this action of the Nobel Committee. Let there be number of people increasing because the contributions of each and every person matters in the matter of Nobel Prize for Physics. And this year's left out of Corkum is a great shock on our aspect. Friends, the title of the article which I am going to discuss is Let There Be Light. What is light? The light is the finding of the shape of the electron with the special method which has been adopted by the three physicists who have been awarded Nobel Prize today, and the fifth woman who is being awarded Nobel Prize for Physics. It is very rare to see women being awarded Nobel Prize for Physics, because physics is such a science which is a male dominated science, and this always sees any person who is a male who is being awarded. The first time this is a woman being awarded, this is the fifth time. And therefore, let me begin with the names of the awardees. The names of the Nobel laureates this year are the woman candidate Annie Liller, Pierre Augustini, and Frank Gauss. So these three trio have been awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics for their significant contribution of the attosecond, that is the minutest particle which watches an electron in motion. When Annie Liller was asked whether she watched the electron, she replied that it is impossible to see the clear picture of the electron. It is a still blurred vision which she has seen, because the other side of the electron or the clear picture of the electron is impossible to see. Thereafter, what discovery led to this Nobel Prize is what they have discovered the attosecond, followed by, which is 1 followed by 000 times, 1 divided by 1 followed by 000 times of a second. A heartbeat is of a second. A universe which is around 13.8 billion years, it has elapsed 1 followed by 000 times return. So 10 raised to minus 18 is the measure of the attosecond. How did they chance upon this attosecond, my dear friends? They chanced upon the attosecond by passing the laser beams through the gases, and the overtones were formed. What are overtones? The gases will have wavelength, and the electron of the laser beams will have the waves. Both the waves were combined to form an overtone, and this overtone was isolated by Frank Gauss, who discovered that this one was the attosecond, and the attosecond was necessary, which is 10 raised to minus 18 of a second is necessary to measure the wavelength of the electron. Friends, how does the electron look like? Whether it is looking like round, whether it is looking like in some other shape, the reply is by Annie Liller, who says that it is like the waves. The waves are the representations of the electrons, my dear friends. And this is a significant discovery. Where does it going to help is that it is going to help in such fields where, suppose we are using the computer, we are having some gigabyte speed, we are having some Mbps speed. Mbps speed is because of the speed of the microprocessor. Suppose the electrons can be measured with the attosecond. What will happen is that more and more efficient microprocessors will be processed in such a way that the billion times of the speed which we are able to see today will be able to be seen. Friends, so the discovery will pave the way for the treatment in cancer, because in molecules what happens is that if we can measure the electrons in the molecules, we can control the electrons. The quintillionth part of a second is what is measured by the attosecond. This attosecond concept is very new. Even in IITs, these attoseconds have been using to measure the electrons. These electrons will even this measurement will even convert the insulators to conductors of electricity. A very new invention in the field of electronics is going to revolutionize this world. So, friends, this is a very remarkable achievement which we must congratulate the Nobel laureates for. Friends, the next article which I am going to discuss is emergency era. Emergency era has reference to the NewsClick editor-in-chief Sabir Prabir Purkayastha, who has been arrested and kept in custody. It is because of a New York Times article, which cited that this Prabir Purkayastha has got investments from Chinese agencies and is operating for the Chinese people. In 1975, during the emergency era also, Prabir Purkayastha was arrested. However, this is not an emergency which is happening. He has been under the income tax scanner and the ED scanner for long. And recently a High Court had ordered that, Delhi High Court had ordered that he could not be tried. Even an FIR has not been shown to him. It is obligatory on the part of the government to show the FIR to the person who has been arrested. However, in this case, he has not been shown any FIR. So, what happens is that it is a recreation of the history, that is the emergency period, but without any kind of the movement of the fig leaves which represented the history. Friends, the next article which I am going to discuss is retribution for the South, accolade for the North. This is referring to the federal structure of the nation. It has been in discussion that delimitation exercise would be carried out very soon, at least by 2026, and what would happen is that on the basis of population, the delimitation of the constituencies would be decided. And then what would happen is that there has been a very huge growth of population in North India from 42% to 46%, where in South India it has declined from 26% to 21% between 1971 and 2011. My dear friends, if this is being conducted, this delimitation exercise is being conducted, more and more seats for the Lok Sabha would go through to the north and nothing would remain for the south. The constituencies are delimited on the basis of the percentage of registered voters. It is seen that even 2% of the registered voters are just voting for the election, remaining are not coming. So what happens is that if you are basing the delimitation on the basis of registration, then what happens is that is 18 lakhs registered persons per constituency in North India and 12 lakhs per constituency in South India. The registration of the voters has not to be seen. Actual voters turnout is very less, my dear friends. So delimitation exercise is just mocking at the population control which South India diligently followed and has reduced the population of its constituencies. However, it is encouraging the North India which has not followed the population control policies in the strictest way. So the article is asking whether this would prompt the South India also to follow a population control policy or denigrate from the population control policy or the liberalized population control policy. This is why the retribution for the South has been referred. Retribution for the South because the demotivation for controlling the population which is being meted out to the South India, and accolade for the North, it means that congratulating the North for not controlling the population. So the delimitation is just trying to encourage the North India by giving more and more seats to them is what is discussed in this article, my dear friends. Friends, the next article is keeping tab on carbon with an accounting system. What does it talk about? It is talking about different concepts. First of all, polycrisis is being discussed. When the climate change happens, there is polycrisis. Polycrisis means it is affecting the infrastructure, it is affecting the food distribution, it is affecting the climate, it is affecting the agriculture. So different types of crises are being grouped together in a polycrisis method. So what is necessary is that poly solution is necessary. Poly solution means multiple solutions. Polycrisis means multiple crises, and poly solution means multiple solutions. What has to be done is that carbon accounting has to be done. Just like we file income tax returns, carbon tax returns we have to file. More and more who are consuming petrol, they have to be taxed more and more. This accounting has to be done. We are accounting for receipts and payments of the money, but we are not accounting for the carbon usage. We have to account for usage of petrol. So national carbon accounting has to be done. National carbon accounting will pave the way for proper utilization of the carbon credits, and swap of carbon credits with the money should be there. The cash should be able to be swapped with carbon credits. So encouraging carbon accounting is the only way how to reduce the as a poly solution for the poly crisis which the country is facing now, my dear friends. Friends, the next article which I am going to discuss is women's quota from Panchayat to Parliament. Friends, a long has been discussed. A 30 years period has been there since women got some reservation in the local Panchayat body elections. Since then, what has been the pattern of governance of women is being discussed in this article. It is very much varying, my dear friends, since the beginning of the period and the 2020 report. There has been variances. Initially the reports would come that women were more and more, the women representatives were more and more investing on public expenditure, just like drinking water, then the infrastructure facilities and all. And now in 2020 a report has come that in North India most of the places the upper caste women are being elected and the OBC caste and the down the structure no one is elected. So the vertical reservation for the SC, ST and OBC categories have to be there even in the women's reservation. Women's reservation, the problem is that there is horizontal reservation. So what will happen that only the upper caste women would get the chance, unlike the SC, ST and OBC reservation where the SC, ST reservation where there is vertical reservation. So the article is saying that considering this, the reservation in the OBC's category has also to be provided, and for even for the horizontal reservations which is now operating, the 106th Amendment Act has come. The Constitution 106th Amendment Act to reserve constituencies for women has come. So in that the horizontal reservation has to be coupled with the vertical reservation is what it is saying, this article is saying. Friends, I will sum up the articles one by one and have the key takeaways. Friends, for the benefit of mankind and for the nobility, the Nobel Prizes have again been announced for physics, and this time this is going to revolutionize with the finding of attoseconds. This is going to revolutionize the physics and the environment in which we will be having lots of new measures in the diagnostics of cancer and the treatment of cancer, and then the computer chips which are going to be, and semiconductor industry is going to be benefited. Second, the key takeaway is that, friends, the emergency period which the unofficial emergency period which the BJP government is running now is deplorable at the core. The third one is that, friends, whatever the encouragement we had received for the population control measures earlier, now with the delimitation exercises, thought process is going on, the demotivation the government is going to gather on the South Indian governments. So the fourth key takeaway is that it is highly essential that, just like the accounting system and the taxation system, the carbon accounting system is developed so that it becomes a poly solution for the poly crisis which comes out of the climate change. And the fifth and the last one key takeaway is that women's reservation is good, but vertical reservation has also to be accompanied with the horizontal reservation which is now being provided with. Friends, I have come to the conclusion of the article analysis of the Hindu central page. Take care. Bye bye.